Hello again, everybody. Zagatag is here with the WWE Raw review for tonight, Monday, August 31st, 2015. Alright, well, when it comes to this week's Raw, it was a decent little Raw, some decent matches in there, especially lots of SummerSlam rematches. This is the Raw I thought was going to be last week with lots of SummerSlam rematches. It was this week. Not only do we have SummerSlam rematches, including one really good one, we had a tag team main event, a Divas Beat the Clock challenge, a relationship in turmoil. Plus, we got the status of the U.S. Championship. As you see by the subtitle of my review, we have two matches made for Night Champions. One that we knew about last week after Raw, and one we kind of what's going to happen. Now let's get down to business with how that subtitle came about. We saw Sting start off the show talking about how he decided to crash Seth Rollins' statue party and beat him up after SummerSlam on Raw. Now, I said in my Raw review last week that it looked like from that segment they were going to have Sting challenge Rollins for the WWE Championship, because I didn't expect Sting to be involved in Rollins' thing, because I thought maybe he'd be involved in the old Ambrose Reigns thing, because we saw that new Lion member being introduced last week, Braun Strowman. But he got involved in Rollins. So the match was made after Raw on the network that Triple H named Sting as the new number one contender. I said a little bit about this in my Attack Sports pros and cons of Sting if he possibly defeats Seth Rollins. He becomes the first guy to hold the TNA title, the WWE title, and WCW. It's the only title Sting's never won. That's what he said in his promo about that Seth Rollins claims he's the man. He is no man, he's a boy. He's not as good as Triple H. He'll never be a Triple H. Because he's conniving. He's a great athlete, but he cheats his way to the top. Basically. So back to the pros and cons of Sting possibly being champion. Pros is he gets to complete his legacy. About, being the only guy to have all these major world titles. The biggest con, he's a part-timer. And part-time champions make some internet fans leaving. The internet fans, the wrestling fans are so picky. You know what I mean? They're so decisive too. They're like, they want one thing. And when they finally get it, they complain about it. Like, probably everyone's going to say, Sting is going to be the champion. We want Sting to win the championship. Then when he wins, everyone's going to turn on him and say, we want a full-time champ again. Hopefully Sting does defend the title a lot if he does end up winning it. Against Rollins. At least they're putting their faith in Rollins and face off against Sting. He had some great showings. Shitty endings are none. He's had some good matches. Some of them have been mauled by those endings. But there was a great match against Ambrose, and his match against Cena wasn't that bad at SummerSlam. But not only are they putting faith in Seth Rollins to not just defend one title, subtitle, both titles will be defended by Seth Rollins. Now, I kind of said this last week on my review that what was going to be the status of the U.S. Championship? Is Seth going to forfeit the championship, or is he going to do what Jay Lethal is doing in Ring of Honor? He's the TV champ and the World Champion. He's performing in 2 separate matches, defending both titles. That's exactly what Rollins is doing, as he will defend the U.S. Championship against the most likely opponent you can imagine, John Cena, who came out during the final segment. I usually say this for the final thing, but I'd like to say it because it's my subtitle. Because Rollins wanted a piece of Sting after Sting made those comments. He wanted a statue back. Stephanie came out after Seth made some comments about him being better than Triple H. It's not the relationship that was torn. That was not the relationship that was in turmoil. The relationship in Rollins. That's not the relationship I was referring to. So after Stephanie made those comments about not letting Sting get into his head, here comes Cena. Wanting a rematch. Not the WWE Championship. U.S. Championship. It does kind of make sense because Cena had a good one as U.S. Champion. Really good one as U.S. Champion. He's had a better one with than Rollins has had with his WWE Championship. Because Cena's matches have ended cleanly and have been awesome matches. Even if he wins most of them. So he has Stephanie really be able to face Rollins for the championship, U.S. title, and Stephanie said yes. So, will Rollins lose both championships at Night of Champions, or lose one? I'll say this. If they don't make him drop both titles, if he has to lose one title, it has to be, I hate to say this, it's got to be U.S. Championship. Because Cena's a better representative for U.S. Championship. The only reason why they want a U.S. Championship in Raw is just so someone can say, hey, I got both belts. At least it won't be Cena with both belts. So, that's my thing. I think he'll probably lose one belt. I don't think he'll lose both. I think, I would love to see Sting as champion. But I think Seth needs his win. But, on the other side of the coin, I would like Sting to win too because he can't lose two matches in a row. You know, he lost the Triple H at Mania. A lot of interference heavy match. Nostalgia trip or not, it was full of interference with the NWO and DX involved. A problem that Rollins matches have had. Very interference heavy. Hopefully this match won't be interference heavy. And you can't have Sting lose two matches in a row. It'd be interesting if he's champion. Hopefully he defends the title a lot. Not to be a part-time champion like Brock or The Rock did. Defend the title a lot. Just the pay-per-views. Every pay-per-view. Not just every third pay-per-view like Lesnar did. But I'm not as mad about Lesnar being champion. Now, I appreciate him now coming in every few months like Taker. It's an event. So there you go. Rollins to defend both championships at Night of Champions. Of course, that wasn't the only match named for Night of Champions this evening. We'll get to the Divas beat the clock and who would face Nikki in a second. But let's kick off with the first of plenty of SummerSlam rematches. Dolph Ziggler against Rusev. Now, the match, not as a little bit better than SummerSlam, but same kind of ending. Shitty. Screwy. No, it wasn't a double count out, although there was a tease of another double count out. But it wasn't the case. It was an okay match. Like, Rusev took control with some big nasty kicks and tried to accolade. Ziggler came flying back with some big flying moves, super kicks and all, and he nailed the zigzag at one point. This is the ending. He nailed the zigzag, about to get a pin in the win. Then here's where the screwy ending comes in. Summer Rae comes in, pulls Ziggler off, DQ, and here comes Lana, and a cat fight ensues. We've been thinking, the only reason why they had another screwy ending is to, once again, build up the inevitable. A mixed tag team match involving Lana and Ziggler against Rusev or Summer Rae. Or, is that even going to happen? During a post-match interview, Ziggler was off celebrating, Lana went off, and if you saw in the corner of your eye, you saw Lana's rival, Summer Rae, sneak into Ziggler's dressing room. We found out later on, we saw Summer Rae running out of the dressing room with Ziggler wearing nothing but his towel. At least we didn't have any slips from Dolph like we did at the VMAs with Miley's nip slip. Sorry to make a VMA reference, guys. I'm a disc jockey who also happens to love wrestling. You know, I'm a tune to everything in pop culture. Music, entertainment, and of course, sports entertainment. And Lana was not too pleased about seeing Summer Rae running out of Ziggler's dressing room. Ziggler said nothing happened. But Summer Rae's side of the story, as she told Renee Young later on, told a different story. Saying that Dolph tried to seduce him. You know what I mean? and all this stuff, and Lana was not too pleased. She was crying. Lana and Ziggler both scheduled to appear on Miz TV on SmackDown. So we'll see if the relationship can be fixed or not. So that's the relationship I was mentioning that was in turmoil. Now on to our next matchup. The first of the 3 Beat the Clock Challenge matches involving the Divas. For the number contendership for the Divas Championship. Now tonight's crowd in Tampa, which was where Raw was tonight, good crowd. At least they didn't troll the Divas matches like they did last week in Brooklyn, which almost derailed the Divas Revolution. This almost kind of did too. Because usually Beat the Clock matches are usually long matches. Well, unfortunately, we didn't give Divas enough time to wrestle. It was very short matches for all 3 Beat the Clock challenges. Should have gave Divas a lot more time to wrestle. They were trying to say, oh, we want to give Divas more time to wrestle? Then why did you give them short matches in the Beat the Clock challenge? Anyway, it involved all 3 members of PCB challenging to beat the clock. And the first to challenge to try to beat the clock to be the fastest time was Becky Lynch, as she took on Alicia Fox. Now before Brie Bella came out and said that in 2 weeks she'll be the longest reigning Divas champion, the World to 300, beating AJ's reign. She had the Bellatron, counting down the days that she becomes the longest reigning champion. Of course, we've seen a lot of those clocks where, like, cocky people want to say, this is when I'm going to beat somebody's record. Like when Santino Morello was IC champion, he had the Hulkammeter. Counting down to how long he was going to try to be the longest reigning champion since the Honky Tonk Man. That didn't happen. But unlike Santino, Nikki Bella has a longer chance. Because she'll probably be champ because if she becomes 300-day champ, it'll be right before Night of Champions. She'll probably lose it then, but at least she'll lose at Night of Champions knowing she has the longest reign. That's my guess. To whoever gets to Beat the Clock challenge. Would it be Becky? She had an okay little matchup against Alicia Fox. They had the longest time because they had to set the precedent. Becky had to set the shortest time. It was for a short Divas match, it was not that bad. It was just okay. So these are the action back and forth with these 2 women. With Becky trying to submit Alicia Fox fast and quickly. And then get the submission victory on Miss Alicia Fox, making a tap out to the disarmer in 3 minutes and 21 seconds. Send the president. We would see if Charlotte Paige would be able to beat it. Next up, we have ourselves a next situation involving the IC Championship. SummerSlam rematch, only one-on-one though. Big Show against Ryback, with the third banana Miz at ringside. What's Big Show is this week? We saw what happened in the tag team match last week with him actually knock out Sheamus, though. They didn't really address that. Just had to wrestle Ryback. It was not that bad, actually. It was fun, although it had some sort of interference. At least it wasn't a DQ, but it was still a factor in the end result. Big Show came out with some big nasty moves, nailing Ryback with everything but the kitchen sink. Even countering the fans for their please retire chants. He will soon, but I don't know when. But then Big Show, they look good. They had some good spots in the match for him and against him. I think it was like one spot when Ryback was on the top rope. He slammed him off the top rope. I thought he was going to try to do a shell shock off the top rope, but he just slammed him off the top. That was pretty cool. So they have to a brawl. It was just a fight between these 2 guys. It's not as bad as we think. Better than the other matches. Not much, but not bad. So as Ryback tries to set up for the meat hook, Big Show ducks out of it. And a lot of near falls. And even Big Show tried to knock out punch, but Ryback would come back with the meat hook, nail him. And right as Big Show had him down at one point to do the knockout punch, Miz got on the top will distracted Big Show long enough for Ryback to gain back consciousness and get the shell shock in the 1-2-3 victory form. Ryback retaining his IC championship. It's actually not bad at all. They didn't really win the match that much. But still, not that bad of a match. For being a Big Show match against anybody, especially Ryback, not bad. So we could see Miz Big Show feud. We've seen a little bit of seeds for those two one-on-ones, so we shall see where that goes. Alright. Time for our next Beat the Clock Challenge. With Charlotte now taking on Brie Bella. It was the shortest of the ones. Well, one of the shortest of the remaining two Beat the Divas matches. I wish they gave them a lot more time. I wish they would have given Becky a lot more time to set a longer time instead of like 3 minutes. Should be like 7 minutes, at least. That's how long the guys usually when they had their Beat the Clock challenges. So with only a short amount of time, it was a quicker. It was a blink and miss match. Despite Charlotte trying to go for a big moves, including figure eight at one point, Brie tried to fight back, trying to prevent Charlotte from not just winning, but for picking the time. But then she got her other big finisher, the natural selection, in the 1-2-3 victory for Charlotte. Like I said, blink and miss match for this situation. Charlotte had the president, 1 minute 41 seconds. We would see if Paige would have a luck later on against Sasha Banks, who we haven't seen in a couple weeks. Now, SummerSlam rematches continue. This time with Kevin Owens taking on Cesaro. Now, the SummerSlam match was really good, even though it was the co-main event. And it was a co-main event in a near 4-hour show and the crowd dead. The crowd wasn't as dead for this. The crowd made it a lot more fun, and this was probably a little bit better than the SummerSlam match. It was as good as this match with really good action, back and forth action for both these guys. It was just a brawl. Some great moves, some great moments in this matchup. Which is all coming on strong with some big uppercuts, including an uppercut on the floor. That was pretty cool. There's just big moments. It's all trying to go for every big move. Trying to go for either the swing or sharpshooter, but Owens kept blocking. Big moves coming off. Owens missed a couple moves, including the cannonball splash. But then one big move did set up the ender. As Owens was taking control after Cesaro's big offensive push, including a crossface submission hold, he threw Cesaro out of the ring. In momentum, swung Cesaro, pun the pun, chest first, ribs first, into the announce table. And with Cesaro still recovering from his ribs, despite trying to power out of it and trying to fight through that injury, he wasn't able to power Owens for any offensive moves. Trying to go for a swing, but his ribs gave out. With Cesaro weak from the injury, Owens fed off that, smelt blood, set up the power bomb, connected it, and the 1-2-3 victory for Kevin Owens, winning again against Cesaro. It was cool to see Owens win like that. Still won clean like that twice. It was another great match for these guys. They have terrific chemistry together. And I always say about people who wrestle a lot of times, sometimes it gets boring. I've always said that Sasha and Charlotte are the two divas that I would see wrestle any day, every day, and they'll never bore me. I'll never get sick of them wrestling. Same with Owens and Cesaro. They're my male equivalents to Sasha and Charlotte. Two people I can never get sick of wrestling each other. That's Owens and Cesaro for me in the males. Because they still have great chemistry. They have great chemistry together. These great, put on some really good, exciting, hard-hitting matches. This was once again no exception to the rule. Really good. Now on to our next scenario. The newest member of the Wyatt family. We get a one-on-one shot against Dean Ambrose being Braun Strowman. He, of course, made his debut last week during the Tag Team SummerSlam rematch as Harper and Bray took on Roman and Dean. This guy is a freak. You think Bray and Harper are freaky monsters? This guy is a monster in itself. He's really tall and creepy looking. He does fit the Wyatt criteria. Tall, check. Decently athletic, check. Good on the mic, needs work. His voice is interesting when he did his promo. It's not the beginning. It is the apocalypse. Very deep, raspy voice for his promo. Especially if the brain delivered another great promo. Like, Sister Abigail, thank you for sending your greatest gift known to mankind. So we would see Ambrose try to outpower this monster. And he's a decent little athlete. He's just a brawler. That's all he is. You know, he just man hugs people, just destroys people. And even Roman Reigns got involved in the match, which set up the DQ. Second screwy ending the night. After the Rusev Ziggler match, once again ending screwy. Can we get a clean run in that match? You know, I mean, we had a double count out at SummerSlam, and then we have a DQ tonight. I know I'm trying to set up a mixed tag if Lana and Ziggler can patch things up after that. I call it misunderstanding between what happened with Summer Rae and Dolph Ziggler. For those of you who got that Genesis reference, there must be some misunderstanding. I applaud you. Woo-hoo! Anyway, after the match was thrown out between Ambrose and Strowman, the brawl was on, and Strowman just once again threw around Ambrose and Reigns like a rag down the spine. Ambrose coming in with a steel chair after putting Reigns in his little chokehold. I don't know the name of it yet. The little chokehold he puts him in. When Ambrose hit him with the chair to break up that hold on Reigns, he didn't even sell it. He just withstand the impact. And then Harper coming with a big super kick, with the entire Ryan family standing tall. Will Woman and Ambrose find a third guy that's not Sting to combat these three? We shall see. Now on to our final Beat the Clock Divas Championship challenge. With Charlotte with the fastest time, 140. It was Paige's turn to take on Sasha Banks to try to beat the clock. And I wish these girls had a lot more time to break the record. You know, I wish it was like a lot more. I wish it wasn't 3 minutes. Like I said, it should have been 7 minutes. Especially with Paige and Sasha. Should have had a lot more time to shine. For what it was just okay with Paige trying to get the quick victory, but Sasha playing mind games knowing that Paige had to beat the time. The biggest point was, it was like 20 seconds left. Paige was trying her best to either submit or pin Sasha. She nailed the Rampage. But right before she could get the pin, Naomi and Tamina, who were at ringside, they pulled Sasha out at the nick of time, making her run out the clock, and Paige unable to beat the time from Charlotte. So Charlotte is now the number one contender for Nikki Bella. It could mean a little breakup for BCB, because even though they are a team, they want to be united, the gold is going to separate them because only one can be Divas Champion. Despite Paige's disappointment, she of course applauded her PCB brethren. But will she celebrate for long? I think Charlotte will be the one to beat Nikki Bella. Like, if you had to choose one person to end the nearly 300-day reign of Nikki Bella, it's got to be Charlotte. She is one of the best divas around. I've been applauding her since NXT. Hell, I just did when I mentioned her and Sasha be my two favorite women. I never get sick of wrestling each other because they always put on magic. Charlotte and Nikki, though? I think Charlotte beat her before, either in a tag team match or a non-title match, but I think Charlotte has beaten Nikki before, whether it's submission or not, so I hope Charlotte gets the win. It becomes Divas Champion. And really, not just be the one to end Bella's title reign and the reign of terror on the company, but also prove that NXT Divas can rule on the main roster too, despite a little off-footing. So there you go. On to our main event. It was interesting to see the tag team division get the main event, as the New Day took on the Dudley Boys. Of course, we saw Big E and Kofi and Xavier come out. I got a chant for Xavier. Xavier has got a new haircut. new haircut. His hair looks so weird, straightened. I saw it, I was like, wow. It looked like, his hair looked like Prince from Graffiti Bridge. The long, flowy, straightened hair. He had a comb because he was at ringside watching Big E and Kofi. Weird to see with a new hairdo. You know, I'll get used to it, but it's just, wow. It was really weird to see him, because I've always seen him with like messy hair, stinky. Even as Apollo Creed, he had that big afro in the TNA. So I've never seen him with straight hair before, unless he has, I don't remember. But it was weird to see him with straight hair. Onto the match. I've been a fan of Dudley Boys since they came into WWE. And I've been watching on the WWE Network, cheap plug, for some of the old school matches in the ECW. They were really vicious back there as well. And to see him back in WWE after all this time, despite rumors about WWE rejecting him, still cool for the tag team division. Pros and cons, but them being champion gonna sideline people that should be being pushes in a really booked tag division, but it could help. You could push the young talent and have one more little one at WWE. That's probably the biggest thing. One more one. So I think they got it. Because they look good in the match. Look good. They can still do their own moves. Especially with Bully Ray being in Bubba Ray. I still call him Bully sometimes. I need to call him Bubba Ray. Because I've been calling him Bully for so long. I even almost forgot his name was Bubba. But I do remember his name was Bubba Ray. Not Bully. Not Brother. It's Bubba Ray. I need to remember to say that a lot more. And I love what New Day's doing to save the tables. That was funny. They had a Bubba Ray on the table. So despite the Dudley Boys' offense coming in early with some quick tags, of course, a New Day would capitalize on a distraction from Xavier to take over, with Biggie isolating Diva in the corner with quick tags to Kofi as well. With the primetime players, they've done more. They've had more time on commentary than as tag team champions. Even when they were champions, they spent more time in commentary than actually defend those titles. Because I love PTP, but it's almost true. Anyway, after the offense from New Day isolated Diva in the corner, Diva had an opportunity to get the quick tag, the hot tag, to Bubba Ray coming in the House of Fire, hip tossing everybody, including Xavier, who was up the apron. And after the Xavier situation was taken care of, here comes all the big moves from the Dudley Boys. Setting up the Raya on the Kofi. Setting up for the eventual 3D on Mr. Kofi in the 1-2-3 victory for the Dudley Boys in a non-title match. Getting the victory over the New Day. Now, I said last week that they're heading towards the Dudley Boys going up against New Day for the WWE Tag Team Championships. This proves it, that they beat the champs in a non-title match. That does sign them on for a title match. I hope it's one-on-one. Please, WWE, don't make it a triple threat. Don't have primetime players redeem their rematch clause at the expense of the Dudleys. Have primetime players have their own one-on-one rematch against the tag team champs, either before Night of Champions or after. They don't need to be added to this match. It needs to be one-on-one, Dudleys and New Day. Even though we just seen a one-on-one, but we don't want a triple threat. We've already had multi-team matches. We just had one at SummerSlam. So please have New Day, Dudleys, one-on-one. Make it a tables match. Because they use the tables in the storyline. Especially the Dudleys didn't see that Bubba wrapped table and tried to use it on Big E. But right before they would set him up for the 3D, Kofi and Xavier pulled him out of Dodge to avoid the table. So there you go, that was your main event. And of course, I mentioned the last segment involving Seth Rollins, John Cena, and Sting coming out after Stephanie said yes to John Cena getting his U.S. title rematch against Rollins. It is kind of cool to have Rollins defend both titles. You know, I would love to have seen a new champion in the tournament, but if Ring of Honor would let Jay Lethal defend both his title in separate matches, albeit in separate weeks, to have Rollins do that in the same night is cool. That should probably be like one of the early matches Like, Cena and him would be one of the early matches, and then Sting and him would be, like I said, probably the main event. When it comes to, like I said earlier, about if Rollins should lose both titles or one title, to see him lose both titles in the same night would be really interesting. But I think he should only lose one, and that's the U.S. Championship. I'm like torn because I would love to see. It's not about who wins the matches per se. I think the fans will win, whoever wins, even if Cena wins, because the fans are gonna get good matches out of both of these scenarios. But I hope the fans don't get fickle when Sting becomes champion. It don't turn on him like they have to a lot of people, like what happened with Roman Reigns. Like they're like, we want Roman Reigns to be the guy. They were trying to build him to be the guy, and it's like they're shoving him down on throats, you know. So let's see what happens to Sting if he ends up being champion. With the fans being like, we want Sting to be champion. 2 months later, we want a full-time champ again. You know what I mean? Internet fans are so fickle. I'm not as fickle as most of the IWC, but, you know, there you go. That is it for my WWE Raw review for tonight. Thank you very much for watching. With that in mind, you've been attacked by the review from Zach. See you later. Yeah.